You've heard of unconditional love, but have you heard of the secret to unconditional happiness and allowing more into your life? More wealth, more success, and more love. More freedom in your life right now. Welcome to the Happy Bar with Israel Savage. Many times as actors, as people, we get that we have to work hard. We get that we have to do things. But we don't get that timing is important. Timing is important. Now, you can plan the most fabulous cruise in the world. You can pay your money, right? You can schedule the trip. You can pack your suitcase. You can take time off from work. You can look forward to this trip. But if you show up at the dock an hour after the boat has sailed, then you're out of luck. It's all about rendezvous and timing. And in order to maximize your ability and synchronize timing for yourself, you got to be in a better feeling space. You got to be patient with yourself. You got to wait for those easier, better feeling moments. We've all had moments in our lives where we were just on it. We're hanging out with a group of friends and we say the funniest thing at just the right time, and we are just rock stars, right? Everybody wants us. Everybody wants to be us. Everybody wants to be around us. Have we all had that moment, even if it's just a moment where, wow, there's a flow. There's a flow about this. Have we also had that moment when we make a joke or we insert a comment and it just falls flat and it just feels like it's about 30 seconds too late or 2 minutes too early or just not the right group? The relationship's not there yet. We just weren't feeling our way through the moment. We hadn't lined up with it just yet. We were a little premature. Have we all had that sense too? And so timing is important. Timing is your friend. And lining up with that is important. All of this work that we're doing over the next few weeks is truly stretching your muscles, these exercises that you're getting. Stretching your muscles, getting you primed and ready, putting you in a space so that the easier path lights up for you. Okay, the inspired idea is received by you. I could teach you the nuts and bolts of headshots, of resumes, of monologues, of cold readings. I could give you tips and tricks, right? I could give you everything that you need to know intellectually, but without that power underneath it, you're going to show up at the dock 2 hours late or 2 hours early, right? Without your own sense of timing, without your own sense of this is exactly what I need to do right now, then you're not going to be able to use those tools. With that connection to yourself, to your greater self, when you are tuned in and tapped in, then you don't need me or anybody else. You have your own menu of things, or you remember the things the tips and tricks I suggested exactly when you need them. To try to move forward in our career or in anything without tuning in and tapping in first is like owning a fancy coffee maker. Anybody have a fancy coffee maker like a Keurig? Anybody have something like that? They're kind of great, I have to say. I didn't even want one, but my daughter put it on my Christmas list. My mother asked for a Christmas list every year, and I never make a Christmas list, but my daughter made one for me without me knowing it. And she wanted a Keurig, so she put it on my Christmas list. And she made one for my wife too, and put a Keurig on that and sent it to my mother. And so naturally, we got a Keurig for Christmas. And my mother was like, "Look what you wanted." I was like, "Wow, that's so great." And my daughter was jumping up and down. And so, but anyway, it was a good call because we love our little Keurig. So I've got this fancy coffee maker that does all kinds of fancy things and saves time. But if I don't plug it in, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. And that's what it's like to take all the classes, to learn all the things, to even go to the auditions or apply to the castings, but not plug in. And it's not a once and for all thing. It's a daily check-in. You've got to daily make sure you're plugged in, right? And that's what raising the bar is about. I can't overemphasize how fundamentally important lining up is, tuning in is, tapping into our greater self is. Today, I want to encourage you to step forward. If you feel that little voice that says, hey, I just want to take the spotlight, right? I just want to take the spotlight. I don't know what I'm going to ask, but I think I'll just start talking and see what happens. I want to encourage you to do that. If you feel that little inner nudge, to just go for it, to do it. We just talked about this in our improvisation class. The exercise we did right at the end of class that we discovered that we came to involved calling someone's name and then initiating the exercise. So calling someone's name before you knew what you were going to say next, before you knew what the interaction was going to be, rather than seeing the person, thinking about what the interaction might be or might not be, and then choosing who you were going to work with, right? Calling a random name and then discovering. And the more we can step into experiences like that, sometimes just for the fun of it, and purposefully put ourselves in a position where we have to discover, where we have to bypass our brains, there is an openness that happens. There is a reaching that happens. There is a connection that happens because we can't rely on our brain. We've jumped into the deep end, so we got to swim. So I want to encourage everybody to do more and more of that. You know, we do this thing called sketch show in a day, and we bring our actors in usually around 9 a.m. in the morning, and 6 hours later, they put up a brand new sketch comedy show. Now, when they come in at 9 a.m., they have no idea what the show is going to be. There are no sketches. There is no theme. All we have is people and an audience that's coming in 6 hours. And 6 hours later, they create 15 original sketches. And so they get 15 writing credits, 15 acting credits, and they knock it out of the park every single time. And one of the reasons why it always works is there is no out. There's an audience coming in 6 hours. So there will be a show of sorts. There will be a show of sorts. And so we don't have time to second guess ourselves or do anything but just do it. Just jump in. And that's when miracles happen. Miracles, quote unquote. That's when possibility opens up, right? And so let's start to look for places like that to throw ourselves in. And this might be a place to play with that, to just jump in and start talking. And not know what's going to happen next, or not have a pre-planned agenda. If you liked what you just heard, then take inspired action now. That's right, act while you are feeling good. And build on your momentum. Schedule your free discovery call with me at instudios-nyc.com/happybar.